Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order and stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, first up on our agenda is meeting with the auditor.
He is not online yet, but he said he would be here, and I've been texting with him.
Okay, so we'll give you a note.
He's out there.
Do we want to, when he comes online, we'll come back. Let's skip over the meeting with the auditor right now and go to amendments to the agenda. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
No, sir, not for me.
No amendments to the agenda, so we're moving on to approval of the minutes from July 22nd, 2025. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 22nd, 2025 meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that with discussion.
Yep. We have a motion and a second. What is the discussion?
There's one correction I'd like to see made. So there was a meeting with the governor at the former Skyline building at press conference at the old racetrack. The governor didn't actually go to the Skyline building.
Okay.
So that should be crossed off.
Okay. So would you like to amend your?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the proposed corrections from the July 22nd, 2025 meeting.
I'll second that.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye.
And I'll abstain since I wasn't here.
Yeah, okay, and Mike Dorn's gonna abstain because he wasn't here. Department head reports.
Looks like, Ron, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh,
I sure can.
good. Well, hi there, Ron. Let's start. We're gonna do the meeting with the auditor. Why don't I just pass it on over to you, Ron, and you lead us into that.
Sure. So Joe, you want me to just jump right into it?
Yeah, sir, right on it.
Let me start with an apology, jumping right in it for last meeting, you guys. I just don't know what happened. I never miss meetings, and Joe was texting me, about joining this one. I didn't get to text play, and the meeting never hit my calendar. So I am very sorry about not being able to meet you guys all 2 weeks ago, when you had me on there. So I'll pick up and tell you this week, what I would have told you 2 weeks ago. And one of the things that Joe wanted me to go over, just the financial statement highlights, kind of the transition, taking some time to get the audit, across the finish line, and really get this thing on track, which I think we have, you all. Terry's done a great job, in providing us information, and bank recs, are caught up to date, which historically slowed the audit down, as you see in our management letter comments. But I would suspect that we're having this conversation for the June 30, 2025 audit in December, like we always have been, and getting that thing reset, getting this thing back on schedule with what we see, what's been done for work already for June 30, 2025. So I just wanted to kind of start with that preface to say, hey, we've come some long way. There's been some delays in the past few years because of some struggling bookkeeping, but really now I think that with that under control, expect to see us in December of 2025 this year. Looking forward to coming down there at the end of this month, to move this thing along. The single audits have really, for lack of a better way to say it, put a lot more energy and effort and concentration into these audits. But again, I really feel we're having this conversation for the June 25 audit in December, as Joe and I and Terry have discussed. So I'll stack with that. Financially, for the first time in a long time that we've been doing business with you, that the town finally, for their general fund, 30 days of an operating fund balance, which is like a standard that we use internationally, that used nationally and internationally in the world of government. Last year you had a little north of 100,000. This year it's a little north of $200,000, of general fund balance, and that's good news. And like I said, that's a first, that we've seen in Fairhaven. So I'll start right there. Your fund balance is in good financial condition. As far as other things that I would probably say with that audit and going forward, really what you've done is put millions of dollars through there with infrastructure, money there at the town, much needed infrastructure money. I'd say one thing, and you've definitely got some capital reserve pots money out there. That's probably going to be an area that we tell all of our municipalities that you want to pay attention to, and really, look at your reserves, look at a capital plan, look and see where your money's going to be needed, you all, and I'd say that that's one area that certainly you're going to need to stay on top of, especially with all these grants, that you've had, pour into the town to kind of renovate your infrastructure that you had down there. Certainly there's a big piece of advice that I would give you with capital grants. Other than that, I think your bookkeeping practices are getting pretty well squared away now that we've got some stability, some accounting, for lack of a better way to say it, pedigree in that chair, right now. And I'm not taking away from people of the past, but as Joe and I talked about, it really took a strong accountant really to kind of get in there, and really understand things and, be able to do some reconciliations, that took a long time over the past couple of years to get to, but we're seeing that effort out of there, and we're seeing good quality work out of there. And like I say, we're seeing a 25 audit, really well in the works, and I'm looking forward to coming down there at the end of the month to move this thing along so that sit in the meeting in December and talk current financial numbers there for the town. Just hitting some of the best practice issues. Bank reconciliations was a big thing. You guys have been struggling that for the past couple of years. We see that, on the right track now. Terry, has certainly worked hard, to get that area caught up and moving forward and really coming up with a system, for bank reconciliations. With the federal work that we did, we actually do 2 audits, a financial statement audit, a federal compliance audit. Some federal changes, just making sure, that the town's in compliance. We make sure that you're spending the money the way you're supposed to be, and, that you're in compliance with the federal money. Joe and I talked about setting up that reserve account, which is a requirement for the USDA. That's been done at the town. Purchase orders, there's some new language on purchase orders, that have come out, really purchasing, procedures, that we've talked about, and, and that the town's taking some initiative to again comply with some of these new standards. And when you take the U.S. federal government's money, literally, you guys, the standards are changing every 6 months right now, just because of all the regulation, that's going on out there, for lack of a better way to say it, the new presidential administration and really how they're delivering money, to the states, to you guys directly, so that you can provide, and use that money in accordance with the, with the grants and the agreements, the loan agreements, things like that. So that's kind of a new area for the past few years for the town of Fairhaven, and we've worked hard on getting you guys caught up with some policies and procedures, really there to, to keep you on the right path. We saw no fraud. We saw no defalcation. I want to make that crystal clear. These are more of best practice matters, that we saw during the audit, so yeah, I mean, the municipalities are struggling right now with trying to find help, trying to find qualified help, and I think you got a good person in that chair. Looking forward to moving this 25 audit along, and continuing, to offer you guys some guidance and some advice on best practices for Fairhaven and any financial questions that you guys may have. So that's pretty much going to summarize 24 and where we're at in 25, you all.
Good. Joe, you have
I just want to elaborate on something Ron said about federal compliance. So as some of our folks that come into our meetings, they say everything is not always good. Tell us the things that aren't good. And this isn't a bad thing, but what happened was when we took the USDA loan for the wastewater plant, we had a reserve fund for the plant for maintenance. What USDA literally meant was a bank account for that money. Like, we were putting away the right amount of money in our reserve, but they wanted a bank account. So when Ron talks about compliance, he noticed that, hey, you should have that money in a bank account, which we ended up doing. We opened a bank account, and now that money is there as it should be. But that was a misstep on my part, because I thought we were just supposed to save it, not put it over here separately. So, Ron, did I say that right?
And there was no issues, as far as the comment. We actually talked, to the USDA and really kind of laid it out, in the air of transparency. I mean, there was nothing, willful going on. It was more than just another step of clarification, that we had, and the USDA was fine with it. We took actions, and it was fine. So.
Yeah. So that was something that was surprising, but we took care of it.
good. Any questions for Ron from board members?
I have none.
No, I just want to echo what Ron said. And I think you said it last year too, when you presented the FY23 audit, kind of looking at what we're going to do with our reserves and building a capital plan.
That's going to be huge. We're actually talking to a gentleman from the bond bank who really, you can tell right now the infrastructure money's starting to gear up in the world of government. Certainly Maine, Vermont, which we're predominant in, we do a boatload of government in both states. We're actually talking to a gentleman with the bond bank on exactly those reserve accounts. He's particularly interested in water, I think, Joe, was where some of his questions were directed, and really kind of the equity in there, future plans, of the town, and I would feel that the conversation we'll have with him on Fairhaven is going to be very similar to the 4 or 5 other communities I've talked about, with him in the last 4 or 5 months, and like, what is your plan? What are you going to do? Are your rates stable? Will you raise rates? Will you continue, to do and upgrade infrastructure in the town of Fairhaven? So we'll be having a conversation here in the near future. Joe and I and Jerry actually, I believe, talking on Thursday, to go over that matter, and we'll keep you guys posted. But they're gearing their whole world around these reserves as well, you all. So.
Yeah. Well, Ron, my comments are this report out feels a lot better than the last one we had.
A lot better. I know.
Yeah, there was some
finish line. We're hoping December is even better progress, you all. So yeah. So listen, I'm with you. With you. Sometimes they're not pretty. 2 years ago wasn't pretty. This one's better, and we certainly look forward to a strong 25 report, you all. Strong.
Good. Good. All right. Any other questions from anyone? Right. That's good. Thank you very much for talking with us, getting back with us, and the work that you're doing with our staff. It's
sure.
It's very
Any
helpful.
other follow-up questions? Just let Joe and Terry know. Just let me, and like you say, I'll look forward to seeing you guys in December. Looking forward to it. So.
Sounds good, Ron. Thanks.
Everybody, take care.
Let's see you now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, moving right along to department head reports.
All right, department head reports. We'll start with the police department. From date 7/21/25 to 8/3/25, we saw 7 arrests. Let me see, 86 traffic and municipal violations, 30 written warnings, no parking tickets.
Yeah.
And 4 car crashes, no overweight permits, and we're still doing civilian fingerprints, and I did 7 in that period. For the water and wastewater department, this is news as of just a few hours ago. We had sanitary surveys done for the water department, and the federal EPA actually came down and met state regulators here at the wastewater plant to do their inspection. Mike sent email. He said they had no violations and only 2 recommendations for their plant. One of them was trimming up trees, and the other one was to run the south tank, and then the other one was to do some cybersecurity training. So the water plant, they're doing great down there. They have it under control. Some of the best staff in Rutland County, I honestly believe it. For wastewater, the EPA, this is the federal EPA, he came all the way from Massachusetts. He was extremely impressed, and according to the report, he's never seen a cleaner wastewater plant. So I sat in a little bit longer on that meeting, and Carrie had every answer and didn't hesitate, as we would expect. So our staff did a great job representing us just today.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm very appreciative. The fire department, we can't forget about the fire department. What a great job they did up on Scotch Hill containing that, 12 or 13 acre fire last week. It was such a big deal that when I was up in Newport last week, Monday to Wednesday. It was actually in the newspaper up there, in the Newport newspaper. So it was Fairhaven was putting out a forest fire. So that was neat to see. From my desk and talking DPW, they're gearing up for the Washington Street water line improvement connection up here across from McDonald's. I talked to them about notifying our businesses, because our businesses do a lot of work over there. They do good business. So it sounded like what they're gonna do is they're gonna lay all the pipe, set everything up, test everything to make sure it's clean and ready to go, and then they're gonna swap. So there's gonna be a minimal time for where there's not water. I mean, just minutes, it sounds like. So I'll keep on top of that. You can expect more of an update, but that's coming along. Fire department we talked about. On the 23rd of this month, I'm going to have 35 Castleton students. The incoming students, they need volunteer time, so I'm going to have 35 of them paint the fence out here. A couple of them, they're all going to start on one end of a quarter, and then they're going to kind of clean as they go in, and then I'm going to have a group behind them painting. So my goal is to get it all touched up and done in 2 hours. We'll see how it goes. Public Works, they were out mowing. Let's see, Nate sent me a report. They were out mowing last week. They're trying to get at everything as they move to the new facility. They do have almost everything moved, and they're putting it together now. They did finish the culvert up on Scotch Hill. We're still prepping for paving up there. They have a water dig tomorrow on Grape Street. We got a broken line. Mowing we talked about. The water project, Nate's been doing a good job as kind of not the official clerk of the works, but staying on top of that project. He's doing a good job catching problems as they come up, so I appreciate him. They were doing some liquid out on Airport Road. It's a little dusty, and we're going to have an event. There's a private event out at the end of the road, so we're taking care of that. And they did a couple of cremations, so it's been a busy week for them. For me, let's see, moving back to me on Wednesday, I'm going to go meet with the library board. The library, which is a Carnegie library, is having problems with its foundation. So they've been trying to get some grant funding to make these repairs. So I'm going to go over and offer some help and see if I can't do anything for them. It'd be nice to have some grant money to repair that instead of in March ask the town for $100,000 to fix it. It's better to use other people's money, in my opinion. Well, the new facility, like we talked about, water and electricity's in our name. I have the internet, phone, and alarm people coming. I just signed the paperwork today, so they should be coming sometime next week to finish that up. So we're quickly moving that along. And as Ron said, August 26, 27, and 28, the auditors will be here to start the 2025 audit, fiscal year 25 audit. So that's chugging along. And I was on vacation, but I still intend to do my Monday morning maintenance jobs. So we got a couple of projects, West Street, we got a couple of water shutoffs we need to replace. So you'll see me out there in the mornings, at least once a week.
Good.
And that's what I got.
Questions for Joe?
I haven't been here in a while. Are they gonna be paving or patching down here when they're done with all their work? Okay.
Yeah. So the Wilkes, I talked to Tom yesterday. He caught up with Tim from Wilkes. Wilkes is in Castleton right now doing some paving, and Wilkes said they would be in town this month. They didn't give me a hard date, but they told us they'd be starting on Scotch Hill in August as well. So I would expect they would hit both at the same time.
Okay.
Or
That was my follow-up question. If we had a date for Scotch Hill to start yet.
yeah, they give me these soft dates. They give me a month instead of a week.
Right.
Yeah, it's weather dependent. Also.
Any other questions? Moving on. Under old business, we have the junk ordinance second look.
So the board, they read through it last time, or between then and now. There were some suggestions, but it was kind of a lot of suggestions, and I didn't want to go in and change everything and then have a discussion, right, and then change it back or make more changes. So I thought I would just wait and hear what everybody had to say before I started manipulating it. I did have a suggestion if the board was interested. The second to last page, letter C, when I was reading, Sam provided, let me see, Wolcott's outdoor storage of junk and junk vehicles ordinance, and they use a number of 800 per violation instead of 500 as our ordinance says. And the state law says 800, so I would recommend moving it a maximum of 8. Doesn't mean you have to do it, it just says that's just the maximum you can do.
I mean, if that's what the state said at, you might as well.
I think
That's what the state said is the maximum.
Per violation.
Well, are we hoping? I know we want this to have teeth and to be as strong a deterrent as possible. Would that be the incentive for increasing it from 500 to 800 to make it more toothy?
I think, I guess I'm trying to, you're saying the state says, the statutes say it's 800 now, not 500?
That 800 is the maximum.
Maximum.
Okay, and we're saying that and your question is, what's the logic of why we went to the max?
No, we haven't gone to the max. We currently have it at 500, and we're suggesting we raise it to 800. My question would be, if we are doing that, is the reason to be a stronger deterrent? I just want to be clear about why we would make
Bigger stick, I would say
Yeah, and
yes,
it's
for me.
the chief, when he issues these types of violations, he doesn't start at 800. You know, he'll start a little lower and say, you know what, clean it up. And if you do clean it up, he'll waive the fee. But sometimes people don't clean it up, and you need to hit them a little bit harder.
Yes, I think. I mean, and I missed a lot, and I kind of cop a little bit, and it sounds like that's what we're trying to do is get more teeth on this, right? So if that to me an $800 fine, that's a good way to get a little bit more bite to it.
So you think it should be 800 instead of 500?
I think so. Yeah. Why even go through all this if you're gonna?
I would hope we never have to write any of these tickets, frankly. And in my conversation with Walcott about the ordinance, which I passed along to Joe and to yourself, Glenn, took pleasure in the fact that they told me they had issued, I think, 0 tickets after the creation of their revised ordinance. So I think we should be operating as though the goal is
It's,
Compliance, not
Right.
fines.
but,
Exactly.
and to get back to why we even looked at the ordinance, getting a lot of complaints from people about garbage and not being removed and vermin that was coming. Overgrown grass, and in some cases, leaves that were just ignored and not picked up. I didn't hear any complaints about when the Wilcott one where it said piles. I'd almost bet they had a problem with people putting stuff out.
Oh,
with
the free
freeze-
piles.
With the free piles, they called them, that you put it out with a sign that said free and left it for weeks as the rain was coming on them and everything. And I would bet that that was a problem they had. Haven't heard or seen yet that's, now maybe you can correct me if that's a problem here. But go ahead.
Well, that was certainly an issue that they faced, and certainly one that they addressed quite directly in the language of their ordinance. But it was far from the only reason that they crafted the ordinance, and it was also not the relevant portion that I wanted to draw your attention to in providing that ordinance either.
When I looked at that Wolcott one though, because my question, I'm glad you talked to him. Actually, it was good reading. My concern when we start doing ordinances anyway, you can write all the ordinances you want. If you don't enforce them, the ordinance. So when you talked to Wolcott and they said they haven't done anything,
Well, they haven't.
my real question is, did they fix their problem?
Yes.
If they fixed their problem, then
All I mean to say is they got lucky in not having to rely on enforcement.
okay. And okay.
Or penalties, I guess I should say.
So I didn't see that email, but did they mention that just the threat of an ordinance that had more teeth was the deterrent? Or
Yeah,
I'm curious
There-
how that conversation went.
Their ordinance was designed, in my conversation with the former town clerk, who is now the chair of the board, and I regrettably forget her name off the top of my head, but we spoke on the phone about what the issues the town faced that led to the revision of the ordinance were. There were a variety of things, and they began the revision process prior to COVID, and there were sort of knock-on effects of the pandemic that also helped curtail some of the issues that they were facing. So it wasn't the ordinance alone that addressed their problem. But suffice to say, in her estimation, they are dealing with fewer of the problems that they previously faced since the revision of the ordinance.
I've heard your
Yeah,
suggestion.
Article 2, Section 3, Section C. Is our concern grass height or grass height specific around junk vehicles? Or junk in general?
I can tell you that from talking with the committee, it was grass height. When we got done having legal look at it, they weren't comfortable with general grass height. They wanted to be just around junk vehicles, and they recommended that we did a separate ordinance for grass height. Am I?
And I'm curious, did we talk about, rather than including overgrown grass in the junk ordinance, rather creating a new ordinance that would specifically address overgrown grass
Is
instead?
it-
Since that was the suggestion of legal.
We talk about grass there, and that was a concern, but it's also about the I'm going to call it vectors, but the rats and mice and all of that live in the cars and scurry through the tall grass and stuff. It's junk cars, but it's also the things that live in those junk cars and live in the weeds that grow up in the junk cars. So we could say, you want to a grass ordinance, just something off the top of my head. But that doesn't address the junk. It's kind of, it's two separate things, and the grass in the junk area is kind of its own unique rodent problem.
I can respect that logic. Is this? I want to make sure that I'm following decorum and sort of Robert's rules as I speak. So, are we open discussion? Am I free to?
Oh, yeah.
Just be freely? Okay. So yeah, I think one of the first questions I asked with respect to this ordinance was whether or not we were following the example of any other town, whether there was a junk ordinance that had similarly adopted language around overgrown grass and weeds. And I attempted to find one myself and did not discover any. So I want to return to the idea that if the overgrown grass is an issue, there are towns that have addressed that in other ways than including it in a junk ordinance, and I just wonder if it would not behoove us to do the same. For example, derelict homes, there are often derelict building ordinances that are adopted by towns which do specifically address overgrown grass and weeds, and that to me is a more desirable threshold to meet where the enforcement of overgrown grass is concerned. I would rather it be with respect to the overall condition and occupancy of the home, rather than tied to the presence of junk, at least if we are to use the language that has specifically been written into this ordinance, which I have additional comments or.
No, I like that because we've kind of talked about a bunch of the derelict homes in town, so I kind of like where you're going with that, doing a separate ordinance towards that. I mean, I understand too where you're coming from. You know, tall grass does attract snakes and mice and all sorts of things. So you get it. You have that. We have that issue in town too. So how do you create a separate ordinance? Like, how do you address?
All great points. I can tell you I can only tell you the discussion of how it got there to answer your question. It wasn't just derelict homes. There were homes that people were living in that just weren't mowing, and that was causing things when you don't mow. There's stuff that you don't see, and that brought the vermin in as well. So it's not just abandoned homes that were there.
If you leave this language in there, it doesn't stop you from making a different
Doesn't
ordinance.
another
It
one.
just beefs this ordinance up. So we could, after we're done with this discussion and approve this, move on to a derelict home. And I love that idea because the state does give us authority to take care of these derelict homes, which little towns don't. We don't take advantage of this. So it's unpopular, but I think we have to.
And I think
The problem,
go ahead.
the problem I see with all of this is you get high grass and you got junk. And where do we draw the line if we have to move in there and have our town employees mow the grass? Who's gonna move the junk first is what I'm trying to say. I mean, it's a big problem. And,
Can't the town come in? Because I think, didn't they just do that down Whitehall not that long ago down by plywood? I think the town came in and cleaned up a blighted property after so many.
It's a nightmare.
So I could imagine this is something that we've been wanting to do, is have the authority to go into a property and remove the junk. We can pay somebody and then bill that right back to the customer or back to the resident. And if they don't pay, it just goes as a lien right on the property.
Right.
So,
Right, so you're
one way or another, the money will come back. Or we could have the town guys do it if they have time.
Well,
Yeah.
I like the idea of a private concern doing it, because
right.
our town employees, we don't have enough of them to go around now. Honestly.
And I just want to let you know that you probably spent more time looking into this, Sam, than the committee that said, we're not writing a new ordinance. We're going to take something that exists, tweak it in a couple places, get legal to review it, and bring it back. And it's an ordinance that probably has been around for a long, and probably could use a total rewrite, but that wasn't what the, Economic Development Committee did. They just said, hey, look, if you're talking about why houses and homes aren't selling and what it looks like in the community, here's some things. Can you do something with an existing ordinance? I think I read a lot of your comments, and they're very good comments about whether you want to be more specific or not. And I'm saying, yeah, we can be very specific. I still, at the end of the day, I'm for the gray area. I don't like black and white. I like gray. That gives you a little more room, because at the end of the day, follow me from, doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from. It gives you, at the end of the day, we're responsible for the health and safety, and we're given broad powers to enforce that as a municipality. I don't need someone saying, a tin can has to be so high, made of this material, and that's a level of specificity that I think we would be wrong in doing.
I don't think that's needed.
I don't think so either.
Hey, junk is junk, you know?
But I mean, I appreciate your feeling. I'm just saying, my limited experience with ordinances, make them as money as you want. At the end of the day, you've got to be prepared to enforce them. Do I believe we have a large number of probably taxpayers that say, nobody's business what I do on my property? Here, and who are you telling me that's junk? Those are my treasures sitting out there. Go ahead.
Can I just say one thing? I could talk about this all night. I am cognizant of the fact that Anne is here and she is waiting to be appointed to the EDDP, and she may not want to sit through this entire conversation. So I'm curious if we intend to vote on
This year,
this ordinance tonight.
we can drag this out as long as we want to, in my opinion.
Okay.
And quite frankly, all we did as an EDP was bring it here because we were asked to look at it. This group can say no, and we just leave what we have and decide on something else. That's all within our realm too. So, no, we don't have to make a decision tonight.
Could we also, I know we've passed the time to make amendments to the agenda, but could we allow for a return to this topic after we certify Anne's appointment in the event that she has places to be, because I want
a recliner.
Let's wrap this up. We're not coming back to this tonight. We can come back to it in another meeting.
Okay. Well, then let me just put a button on my thoughts by saying I understand the logic that we would like to leave room for enforcement to have an easier time to follow up on this ordinance. However, I think that it's a spectrum, and the more specific we can be, the easier it's going to be for the people who have to follow the ordinance to understand and follow the ordinance. So where there's ambiguity, I just want to zhuzh it a little bit and make it a little bit more clear what it is we're asking people to do. And there are a few really specific turns of phrase in this ordinance that I think are creating too much ambiguity, that I just want to button them up a little bit.
Why don't, and I'm just proposing to the board, because we can spin our wheels for as long as we want, or why don't you take the ordinance, go tweak the things that you want, and bring it back and propose it as a counter proposal. The whole idea for bringing the ordinance here was for this board to work and do just what you're doing. So go and tweak it, but at the same time, not just you, because you're just one vote to whether we change or don't change, where it takes 3 to make it happen. Anyone else here who sees something in there that says, you know, I think this right here, tweak it again, and when we'll put it on, we'll keep this on the agenda until we get something that I'd like to see. All I'm looking for is we get to the point where we call the question. Either change it or don't. It's that simple, really.
Okay.
Ken, does that sound reasonable?
I'd like to study it just a little more also. I mean, there's some things in there that, you know,
It's-
I gotta get more information on it,
Yeah.
basically.
Right, and I would like to also kind of just get familiar with it. I haven't really had a chance to because I've been on vacation, so.
It's an opportunity as we're looking at,
It's
as an
definitely-
ordinance comes through, we were doing policies last year where we're taking, great opportunity to look
No, there's no
no,
question. There's
and
no question.
modify, change. We can make this whatever makes sense today.
Yeah, there's no question, things change, you know, we have to,
Yeah. Sound like reasonable, Jack?
Sounds reasonable.
Okay, so we'll keep it on the agenda. We'll bring any changes anyone would like to see, bring it, and we'll continue on. We didn't get here overnight. We're not gonna probably get an answer overnight on it.
As long as it stays an old business and doesn't move to the parking lot.
Oh, yeah,
I think we'll be
the
making progress.
parking lot, I get a little.
That's where things go to die.
That's funny how that transitions like that, yeah. I never thought of it.
Good. So with that,
So we're gonna table it until the 19th.
we're going to we're gonna keep it as old business and talk in our next meeting some more. New business, appointment to the EDDP of Ann Finley. Thank you for volunteering, by the way, Ann. We appreciate you working with them. I'll entertain a motion to place Ann Finley on, appoint Ann Finley to the Economic Development and Downtown Partnership.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Ann Finley to the EDC.
I will second.
And
that
Sam will
motion.
second that. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Ann, thank you. And by the way, we just finished an EDP meeting that she sat in and now is officially a full-time member.
She sat in
Thank you.
and she returned to get
And she
appointed.
returned to get
I just
appointed.
was down the
That's-
road, so I went home and ate dinner and I came back.
But thank you. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Eric, I'm going home.
The second item under new business was the placeholder we've been using for appointment to the zoning board of adjustment. Have we got any volunteers yet?
No, still nobody knocking. I need to repost that to Facebook though. I've only reposted it once, so we'll repost that.
And we'll keep that on new
How many
business.
of us are on that board of adjustment?
The zoning board of adjustment is kind of short-handed right now. I think it's just John Lulak.
So there's room for select board members to just throwing it out there.
He was looking right at you.
We're on.
We're-
Let me
no,
fight my
we're-
battle first.
We're on the
and
board of
then-
civil
Maybe I'll consider
authority.
it.
Okay.
All right.
Is that the one that goes in,
That's the one when someone doesn't agree with the decision that's made by our zoning administrator and our planning commission. They go to the zoning board of adjustment as part of their appeal process.
You can, you're asking this board, the ZBA, to make an exception to the zoning rules. And there's usually a criteria.
that they have?
Yeah, I can't build my house there, I need to build it here because of the mountain that's next door kind of thing. It's not your fault, you know what I mean?
If you can't conform to the setbacks and
Yeah,
all that,
if there's a good reason.
regulations.
And I think our zoning board of adjustment, we're down to about 3 members.
Yeah, I know they're
what's normal?
meeting next week to reorganize. That was from Phil Adams yesterday. So,
Yeah. So I mean, it's a critical role. So if you know of anyone or whatever, and I like the way you put the pressure on first. But yes, we'll keep this here so that we can deal with it. 2 minutes for public comment. No comments. Parking lot. Any comments or questions on the 4 items on the parking lot?
No,
I have-
no updates for me.
My understanding, the subdivision regulations they've had their meeting and now they're waiting for X number of days. Those days haven't, we're close on subdivision. They've had the warned meeting and we're waiting on,
Yeah, honestly, I gotta reach out to Bob. I don't know where that's standing right now.
I think that one's, the only point I want to make, that one's close to coming, I think it's close to coming off. We're waiting. Nobody's filled out a petition that said no, but they've added it to the zoning bylaws and that one I think is,
Close.
it's close.
And then I'm pretty sure it's gotta come to this board for final.
It comes after there's so many days, and then I think we gotta warn and do so many days after we approve it. Yes, but that one's moving forward. Nothing else under parking lot? Board roundtable. Sam?
I would second what Joe said about our fire department. I think there was a lot of attention on that wildfire. I certainly heard a lot about it from the community, and thought we had a great response. All kudos to the fire department, and good work.
I have two things. First, food truck frenzy was a huge success. We had a couple hiccups. We lost a couple trucks last minute and oversight. We didn't have bathrooms, but I talked to the two main trucks that were there serving food, and one estimated they served 350 people, and the other one estimated about 200 people. Yeah, so awesome. There was a lot of positive feedback from the community. I saw a lot of posts. There's a wide range of ages. So I was down there for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it was buzzing. People were having a good time. I talked to a lot of the vendors, reached out to them, thanked them, and checked in to see how they did. There was a young lady selling lemonade. I think she cleared over about $1,000 in sales. Roland Rooster said they had a pretty good turnout for a Wednesday night. And they said they'd come back. Hound Dog said they would definitely come back if we ever did anything again. The second thing is, I wasn't at the last meeting, and it was brought up about let me see, where is it? Hold on, sorry. Special, you guys discussed the special permit for Fairly Buzzed. So Fairly Buzzed was one of the vendors at Food Truck Festival. They said they had great sales and were well received. From people at the event. I'd like to bring it back up for rediscussion, not necessarily just for concerts, but to allow them to come in kind of for any event. I talked to her a little bit in depth, and they seem to have a pretty solid plan in place to mitigate some of your concerns. They said, one of the things she said that they only stick to low ABV drinks, so just like beer, wine, that kind of thing. And then they have strict plans in place for containment, and they have ability for crowd control, bringing in personal bouncers to help contain stuff. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little upset, that I wasn't here, but I was also upset that wasn't kind of tabled until I came back from vacation, especially since myself, my wife Jo, and Erica put a lot of work into that food truck event, with some disapproval from the board, when I brought it up initially. So I'd like to bring it back up for discussion.
Okay.
That's me personally.
And we can do that. I just wanted to tell you that before any alcohol in the park, you're gonna have to change an ordinance that says no alcohol. And it's got, I looked the ordinance up after the meeting that we had the discussion, so.
That's within
on
the
the
boundary range
parks.
of the park.
That's what
On the
correct.
parks, and it shows the radius of the park.
Okay. Does it
and
include
nowhere in that park
That's inside.
is open container, and that's not just inside the fence.
Oh, that's what I wanted to
There's
ask.
a-
Does it include
There's pictures in the,
Closer
when you
in.
go online into the ordinance and you look at the parks, and they talk about down at the playground, and they draw it out, they talk this park and they draw it out. It includes everything, bus station, everything, just so you know.
But
Before
specifically
we
the
go-
area that we had proposed. It
Specifically the area we had proposed. So again, before you even think about bringing it in, when you do the food trucks and everything else, make sure you're either change the ordinance, because that's, we don't get to pick and choose when we wanna follow the ordinance. If you wanna go back and talk rewriting the ordinance, then we write the ordinance, but you gotta be careful that you're not breaking things that, ordinances that we already have in place. I do think that if we're going to entertain on an agenda item talking fairly buzzed again, because I got a lot of phone calls saying no way in heck. So just, we need to get it so that people can come in and you can hear all
Right.
sides, not just.
Well, and that's fine,
I know.
and I'm, I'm for that, but you know what? After, numbers don't lie. When you have almost 600 people turn out for an event and it's well received, that tells me people in this town want different things. And for us to continually say no because of, and we've done it before, you have a group of people rumble for 5 minutes and then it disappears and then nothing. And those are the people that don't want to see change. So keep an open mind.
I'm just telling
Well,
you
that's fine.
that,
They can come to the
It's
meetings and
that
we see it time and time again. They don't.
we, all for new things and keeping it up, I'm just saying
Right. That's fine.
that we also hear the rules, follow the rules, change the rules.
So I would like to see us
So-
bring that up to look at
If
that
it-
ordinance.
I was unaware of, an ordinance. I thought it was just inside the park. That's been my understanding. I've been told that quite a few times.
That was my understanding too, Mr. Green.
When you look at the park
So,
regulations in the
and
website, it's
I'm
very
all
clear.
for trying different things. If they don't work,
Right.
they don't work, but.
Right. But to completely kill something before we even try it.
I don't like that. That's just me. I like trying some different things. I think we need to move on.
Right, and we will, I'm sure there'll be very good discussion about whether we want to have alcohol and open container drinking, which, my God. We can discuss that.
Yeah, I mean,
What else you have?
That's it.
Were you asking to talk about it further tonight?
I was going to, but if there's an ordinance, I'd like to look at the
Oh,
ordinance.
you can talk all you want until you change that ordinance, we can't.
So that's,
do
I
anything.
was, and I was unaware of an
And
ordinance,
it's,
but now,
and it's,
yeah,
and
I'd
it's,
like to look at it.
look under ordinances and you'll find under parks. And it talks about this park, it talks about the playground, it talks about the airport. It shows pictures and actually draws out what's included. It's not a bad thing, but I'm saying if we're gonna do something, we're gonna, what does it affect? Maybe it was written, maybe it's out of touch. We'll put it on I want it on a warned agenda so that the way my phone was ringing, the people can come in and sit here and you can hear from everyone whether they want their town to have alcohol.
I only chuckle because my phone was ringing about Liberty Street being a one-way and no one showed up, so.
Yeah. And then hey.
Well, that's what I mean. And
Yeah.
it happens. We've seen it time. I've been on the board long enough at this point. We see it time and time again. People grumble, but then when it push comes to shove, there's only been one meeting that I can remember that we had a huge turnout for, and that was River Street. That's about the only time
Oh, no.
we've seen it
Oh,
since I've been on it in a year and a half.
Moving the cannon 10 feet, we got dragged down the middle of town back in. I know when you hit a hot button, And there,
Well, right.
there's a few.
So let them show up. But the ones that are gonna grumble,
We-
chances
we
are they're
can-
not gonna show up.
We can, I'm not trying to override, I'm just saying, we'll put it on, we'll, if it's on a warned topic, and we come back so people have their chance and their say, that's good.
So if we
Rich?
do that, I'd like to have them come up to, out too, if we can get.
Because I also, just so you know, I don't know, I might as well get it all on the table here. You say the food truck frenzy was a big success. I've also heard it was a cluster with everything being promised and only 2 food trucks showing up. And so again,
Yeah, that was disappointing, but.
I'm just saying that
We
and
had trucks guarantee it, and we couldn't do nothing for them.
no, I'm just saying that when you we can see. I'm all for. I know it sounds like, oh, Glenn, you all stick in the mud. No, not really. I can also tell you I'm not a fan of food trucks. When I have, I'd rather have restaurants in town than food trucks in the streets.
I would love to see a couple of nice restaurants that we could go at evening and have a sit down. That would be great.
We don't have that though.
When
I know we-
Restaurants
Poultney
in
is
town don't
looking,
wanna stay open at night.
we talk about other towns, Poultney's looking at ordinances to keep food trucks out. Because they'd rather fill
Yeah,
their
but
buildings.
they have 5 restaurants that
I know,
serve
but I'm just,
dinner.
I'm just saying, there's, for every, when we jump and we do
you know,
things.
But right, but
Quite-
you're part of the older generation. The younger generation feels left out in this town.
Quite frankly, I think the food truck thing was something stuffed in here because I wasn't aware that we as the board agreed that we were gonna do a food truck frenzy.
They
Did
weren't.
we-
That was
did
that was a,
But I mean, but I'm
Did we
okay.
need to?
Do you need to?
no. Absolutely not.
I would dare say
Let me
that, you
count
know,
$80. Well, what's the other board members done to bring money, revenue in this town? When we've sat there and talked about revenue for the last year and a half, absolutely nothing except shoot everything down. You know,
I'm just giving you the other side of saying it isn't all balloons and sunshine. And everyone isn't jumping up and down saying, what a wonderful thing that was.
No, I don't think
I
anyone.
just-
I don't think anyone.
And if you want Fairhaven to be the food truck center, quite frankly, I don't want Fairhaven to be the food truck center. Personally, I'd like nice, quiet Fairhaven.
that's why this town's
wanna go-
dying right there, because quiet. Go over to Glens Falls, the T-shirt factory every Thursday.
Then move to
Thousands.
Glens Falls. But anyway, I regress, I'm sorry. Rich,
Okay.
Chad?
No, actually, yes.
Good meeting.
Congratulations to our Slaters who represented Vermont in the Shrine
Yes,
Bowl
we
game
won the
against
Shrine.
New Hampshire. Good showing, good win. That's all I have.
And rather than, now I'm done telling the other side, but I only have one thing I wanted to bring up. I can't make the concerts in the park last meeting, but we got a request that, this is Fred Capron's last year for concerts in the park, and was wondering if there was some members of the select board can be there to thank, not only Fred, but thank the whole Concerts in the Park crew that do, they fight the weather and everything else to try to and I know our numbers have been down. The weather's been down,
The weather's
been downright terrible.
Very, very uncooperative this year.
But if anyone is free on the last Thursday, I didn't know if first there was a request that there's some recognition from the board in the town. What do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea. I will be there.
I would love to be there. Regrettably, I'm going to be in New Orleans that week, which is the
I
last
know
week
I
of
can't
August.
do that. That's why I bring it up.
It's the 14th.
Oh, the last week of.
It's the last Thursday concert that they're doing in
Yeah,
August.
it's the 14th.
It's the 14th.
Yeah, it's early this year.
It should be next week. That's why I bring it up. If anyone can, would you, what's your thoughts on that? That we I mean, something like 18 years of Fred,
Can we do something plaque-wise too?
that, what I,
That's what I intended to do.
and have some
Yeah,
representation
if I
there.
can-
to
I might
do
be a
it.
little late, but I can be there.
I mean,
I would love to. My other conflict is I run an event on Thursday nights every single week in Rutland, and
that's me. I'm
Okay.
tied up, already committed for that person.
Yeah,
But I-
we've
But I
got,
thought we'd,
I'll be there, and I was gonna get a plaque.
good. And, perfect. I have nothing else. Said enough. How about payroll?
Make a motion to approve the payroll warrant of something, I didn't write it down. What is the payroll? $46,277.18.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve the general warrant of $397,146.44.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Second by Sam. All those in favor?
I,
Our checkbook sits at negative $85,603.32. And we have a lot in our expected receivables.
Yeah, we have several hundred in expected receivables from the water project.
Yeah. And the state of the state is pretty good.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we have an executive session.
Wait. Sam, did you get a cupcake?
I saw one presented for me.
There's a birthday. There's
Yeah.
a birthday
He's
here.
probably
right?
wondering what that's for.
Is it your birthday?
No, of course not. It's Opal Mewington's 8th birthday.
Ah.
Opal
wonder.
Mewington. Is
Yeah,
it
you're
Opal Mewington Gunter?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah,
I thought that's what it was for.
yeah, that's exactly what it's for. So every year you get a cupcake.
Well, pass on my congratulations to Opal and thanks
Sure.
for the cupcake.
Executive session.
I'll make a motion we go into executive session.
Second.
For personnel under 1 VSA 313A4.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll be closing down to go into executive session.